Check 1, 2. If you can hear this, we haven't broken anything yet. Welcome to Tech Connect Live. And now, here are your hosts, Corey and Luke.
Hello! Welcome to this very sad and depressing episode of Tech Connect Live. Well, Corey, I don't know if you knew this, but last night, England got beaten in the World Cup semi-finals.
You got whomped today from a staff member who just walked by.
From a staff member, so really appreciate that level of support from the people here.
Yeah, Rachel Green.
Rachel, well, not to name names, but Rachel Green, yeah. And it's been a bit of a depressing,
Hey, but at least they made it to the 4, right? They made it to. It's more than most. Is it down to 4?
Down to the last 4.
Yeah.
I was listening to Talk Sport this morning, English sports broadcaster, BBC sports broadcaster, and everybody was saying they want to sack the new manager.
The guy who just started?
The guy who just started. I was kind of like, we could give him a chance, like.
I mean, he brought it to the 4, but what you were saying this morning, though, he unfortunately did the exact same thing. That he did what he was brought in to not do exactly what he ended up doing.
That is the case. So I understand where people are coming from, but people learn from their mistakes. So I think we should at least give him another chance. I think people are against him a little bit more than usual because he is German, and there is a history. There is a history there.
I guess, yeah.
So anyway, it's a sad day, and then of course I woke up this morning to my house being on fire.
Well, at least that's what it smelled like.
That's what I thought was happening anyway. Turns out it was bushfires across Canada.
Yeah, forest fires in Canada and Minnesota. I went out last night to take the dogs out and thought a neighbor was smoking a cigar. I totally forgot that it was supposed to be bad. And then when I came out this morning, it is pretty intense out there.
And it does, of course, raise the question, Corey, why are we still living in the Midwest? Now, I don't know if you have an answer to that. If anybody in the chat can give us a good justification for why we are still here.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear it.
I mean, I have a feeling. I mean, you go anywhere you move, there's going to be some kind of natural. Although I guess, I mean, I don't know how this fire started, so I don't know if you can consider this a natural disaster or not disaster. But if this was, I mean, forest fires started, it happens. But anyways, I'm assuming anywhere you live, you're going to have something, right? I guess I would take this over hurricanes.
That's a good point. This is preferable to. We should create a map of preference and see where the best place to live in the U.S.
We don't have earthquakes.
No, that's true. No earthquakes.
We have snow, cold weather, and then stuff that Canada sends down.
Yeah, thanks, Canada.
That's what we have to do.
Maybe we should go to Canada. Maybe that's the move right there.
Oh, if you go all the way north in Canada, then I guess you don't have to deal with any of this.
No. Okay. If anybody in the chat knows the best place to live, then please let us know. And of course, we do have Alicia Green giving us a hello, Luke, Corey, and Jonathan. I am back. Greetings from Rockford, Illinois, on this extremely hot day.
Yeah,
hello.
You know what? Alicia was not with us 2 weeks ago when I was riding solo. Maybe. No, I don't think she was.
I was nervous. I don't think I heard from
Yeah. She heard that you weren't going to be here, Luke. So
I can understand.
She's like, why bother?
No,
it's probably not going to go live. Corey's not going to figure out how to do it.
Well, congratulations, Corey, on a good show from last time.
Yeah, we can thank Jonathan for that. We got up and going.
And today we have another great show lined up. Of course we do, because today we are talking about the Tovala Smart Oven, Tovala, And we're going to learn all about how this is a great device for cooking if you have a vision impairment, or even if you don't. Now, just before I introduce our guest, Corey, I would like to just let people know, and it's in the chat as well, that we do have a special promotional code kindly given to us by Tovala for our listeners. And this code will net you, I believe, $250 off of the Tovala Pro Smart Oven. So it's a significant discount, down from $349 down to $99 using the code VISIONTECH. This is VISIONTECH, all one word. Now, we've got it capitalized here. I assume that...
it was capital.
Yeah, so you might want to type it in capitals, VISIONTECH. No and that's going to go ahead and give you the oven for $99 and 50% off your first week of meals. Now, obviously, as we go through, people are going to find out what that's all about. Yeah,
before you run to Tovala.com and go get it, stick around, because we're going to talk about why it is a pretty cool smart oven, and then talk about a couple different ways that you can cook with it, and then talk about what food you can cook in that, including the subscription that they provide, and also hint,
yes,
or not hint, but what's it called? Why can't I think?
I have no idea.
Anyways, you can do store-bought meals as well, too, some of them in their database. So we'll talk about that.
Well, to help us talk about all of these things, we have the man himself, the CEO, the co-founder.
We went right to the top.
We went right to the top, as we like to do. We have David Rabie. Hopefully I pronounced your last name correctly there. David, did I pronounce it correctly?
Hate to say that you messed it up.
I knew that was going to happen. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Rabie.
You know, I had a 50-50 choice between two things that I could have gone with, and of course I went with the wrong one. So David Rabie from Tovala, thank you for joining us on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Also dealing with these raging fires, but excited to be indoors and talking to you guys right now.
Indeed, because you are in Chicago, so you are pretty close by to where we are. So it's good to have a local face joining us on the show. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, David? And since you are the co-founder of Tovala, why don't you tell us about Tovala and how all of that got started?
Yeah, so I started this company over a decade ago, and really was trying to solve my own problem of, getting dinner on the table on a Tuesday night is hard, and it takes time, and cooking is painstaking, and there's pots and pans to clean, and you got to shop and you got to plan. There's just so much that goes into getting a home cooked meal on the table. And I felt like the convenient solutions that were out on the market just didn't stack up to what I wanted. So I wanted something that went from raw to cooked, that had the textures of home cooking, that came out piping hot, that made your home smell amazing. I didn't want to reheat leftovers with frozen food, and I didn't want a meal kit where I still had to do all the cooking. And so I came up with, what people thought was a crazy idea, to make an appliance and make food that goes in that appliance and have them connect through software so that it cooks automatically. But as a customer, you have to do almost nothing except scanning this QR code. And that was the initial concept. We didn't change that much from that initial concept, and that's what's in hundreds of thousands of homes across the country today.
All right, so it's obviously been a successful idea, and I can completely understand why, as a person who has neither the time nor the desire to make a meal when I get back from work, and my wife actually is the same as well. Yeah. And so solutions like this are tailor-made for us, for sure.
And and I think a lot of people that are interested in this type of meal service and this kind of oven, and I think you probably fall in this too, Luke, is that you don't want to order out, you don't want to buy fast food. Like you may not enjoy cooking, but you enjoy good food. Yes. And so what is that solution then to still, how easy can you get good food on your table?
Now, I have to say, I do love eating out as well, so.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking you don't want to be getting fast food.
No, it's true.
You know what I mean? You if you're going to eat out, you want good food, and it's same at home. If you're going to be making something at home, you want something good.
I prefer my food to be as slow as possible, which is why my favorite food is snails.
Oh.
Yeah, got that from the French. Escargot.
There you go.
Yeah, good stuff. So David, tell us a little bit about the operation. You're in Chicago, but I believe, is the company based out of a different state? What's the setup that you've got?
We are based in Chicago, so our headquarters are here. We've got two facilities here, two food facilities in the Chicago area, and then we've got one facility in Utah. And so we're able to make and ship fresh food across the entire continental US, regardless of where you live. And that happens every week. So every week we're producing hundreds of thousands of meals, shipping them across the US. They're arriving fresh in people's homes. And then the next week, there's a whole new menu for people to order from.
Awesome. And we should just make it clear. So Tovala is not just a smart oven, it is also a food delivery service. So you guys not only make the device to cook the meals, but you make the meals yourselves. And like you say, you ship them around the country. They arrive fresh. Now, if you're like Corey, what you do is you receive the meals, and then you leave them in your boiling hot office for a week.
It was not.
And then they're no good anymore.
It was not my fault. Well, I guess it kind of was my fault.
It was your fault.
Yes, you don't want to do that.
No, that would be bad.
No,
so you ship them. I believe there is dry ice in the box, so when they get to you, then they are still, chilled, and then you can put them into your freezer, and then they are ready to be cooked. Now, my question is, David, how do you guys come up with the different meals? Who is designing the meals? How do you decide what meals to make? What's the process there?
Yeah, so we've got a whole team of R&D chefs that are in our test kitchen developing and designing new meals every day. And they work closely with a product manager whose job is basically to figure out what should we put on the menu and what are the new trends that are happening, what are our customers asking for. We get lots of feedback from our customers. Food is so personal and people want to share the things they love, the things they hate. We use that to drive a lot of our menu innovation. And then we've got regular tastings where the chefs will put out a bunch of new items. A lot of people internally go taste them, rate them, give feedback. Sure. And then eventually those get put on the regular menu. We get feedback on that, and then we kind of iterate from there. So it's a constant process because the menu is changing so often and is so large. There's over 40 items on the menu every week.
Nice.
That the pace of innovation has to be really fast.
So, and we're going to get to the smart oven in a moment, because I do think that's one of the things that really stands Tovala apart. Not only the smart oven, but its accessibility. But around the meal subscription, because I do think this is a key area too, not only just for people who aren't huge cooks, but if people who are blind or visually impaired that, again, maybe just aren't into cooking. But some of the foods, like these type of food service companies, and they've been around for a long time, Blue Apron and different things like that. Now, what I found for some of those were that the prep of the food was still a little more difficult. Yeah, okay, that's a good. I was going to say difficult, but not difficult, but more involved than I really wanted them to. So, how are the Tovala meals? What's kind of the prep time, and is there a target that you usually aim for? Ease of use target, time target, so that people can get that meal into the oven.
Yeah, I'd say most meals are 60 to 90 seconds.
Whoa.
So very fast. But it's still fresh ingredients. It goes in your fridge. The ingredients are mostly uncooked. So you've got a, brine chicken breast or salmon fillet or broccoli or green beans or rice. And then the oven is cooking it from scratch. So you're not compromising the way you might with a microwave meal that's fully pre-cooked and going in the microwave. But it's not like Blue Apron where you have to spend 45 minutes preparing the thing.
And I think that's a really important thing. I've done a bunch of these meal things in the past. My wife and I, we have 2 kids. Neither of us like to cook. And so we've tried some of the microwave ones. We specifically tried Cook Unity at one point. And the meals were okay, but what we did find was they started to taste a lot alike. And I think because they were the microwave, you think, oh, this is going to be super convenient. But there is such a big difference between microwave and the fresh ingredients coming out of these smart ovens. It's very, very different. Obviously it's a different type of food service, but just really the end result is very different.
Yeah, we always talk about fish, like reheating a piece of cooked salmon in your microwave. That doesn't give anyone good feelings inside. But cooking a beautiful salmon fillet from scratch with steam, with a sauce that gets caramelized at the broil, that smells amazing, is a radically different experience. And that is really what brings the value of the oven to life for people.
I think I'm starting to discover the problem with talking about the Tovala
at about 11 a.m.
The more we talk, the hungrier that we get. Well, okay, so we know something about the meals now. We know something about the prep time, and like you say, you've got like 40 choices. We'll start to talk about the oven itself, but actually, just before we do that, so I believe, David, the way that the meals work is it's like a subscription-based service, and so you can kind of subscribe and get the meals shipped to you. What do those subscriptions look like exactly?
Yeah, so it's a weekly subscription. The meals are base price of $13.99. If you get 2 servings of the meals, that brings the price down to $9.99 or $10.99. If you get the family style meal, which serves 4 very generously, I'd say, maybe 5 or 6, it's between $7.99 to $9.99. So it's kind of a sliding scale of price depending on serving size. And it's every week. So if you choose not to order for a week, totally your call. You can skip, you can stop the service, and you can use the oven for your own food. We don't close it off. If you want to make your own potatoes in the oven or toast bread or do whatever you want with it, you can.
True.
And the subscription is there for you every week.
Okay, neat. And is there like in terms of the number of meals that you have delivered per week, are there kind of certain, levels for that, or how does that work?
Yeah, 4 is the minimum. And the maximum is 16. So, there are some households that live off Tovala, but for most people, it's one solution of a few to kind of get your meals taken care of for the whole week.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, my wife and I, we like to, make some food when we can be bothered, but then other times we just don't have the energy. So it's kind of nice to have the option to do either or depending on the week and what's happening.
Yeah.
So. All right, well, let's talk about the oven, because in terms of our audience, the oven is probably really going to be the star of the show, because the reason that we have you on talking about this whole thing is because of the accessibility angle which the oven offers. And so, it's basically, you guys have found this kind of niche, which I don't know that you were necessarily specifically looking for, but it just so happens to have worked out for you, where you made this oven accessible, and now it's really good for the blind and low vision communities. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the accessibility of the oven and how it can be beneficial for our community?
Yeah, so if we're going to talk about the oven first, I think the fact that there's no touch screen, so physical buttons on the oven, we have found really resonates with this audience and makes it so much easier to navigate and do what you want to do, whether that's cooking our meals, where there's a scan button that you push, a physical button, or if you want to cook your own food. There's a reheat button, there's a bake button, there's all, tactile response on the oven itself. So I think it starts with the physical oven itself, but then extends to some of the other features that are kind of connected to the oven. So even cooking our meals, you scan the meals and there's a physical scanner on the oven itself. So you push the scan button, you scan the QR code that comes with the meal. There's a sound that comes out when you successfully scan the meal, and then you push a start button that's on the oven itself. So it's a very kind of physical experience that I think for ovens of this caliber, for the most part, they're pretty reliant on touch screens, which we don't have on the oven itself.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then maybe a couple other things with the oven. It does shut off on its own automatically. So at the end of cooking our meals, or people doing their own bake cycle or anything like that, the oven turns off on its own. So there's kind of really nice safety built in there that also preserves the kind of texture and doneness of the meal as well. So from a culinary standpoint, there's also benefit to that. And then last thing, and then I'll shut up, getting the oven set up is also super easy. Does not require really any sighted help. There's a barcode that you can scan, and then there's a screen reader that guides you through the setup. Nice. The setup is quite simple. So, and I can talk about why we have some of those things, but we have found, to your point, very organically that for this audience of folks, the product really works and resonates.
And I think it's the touch button, the actual tactile buttons really is what sets it apart. And I think it's such a important thing to remember is that the touch screens, although they can be convenient for those with vision, they can be very inconvenient for those like myself who don't. And so the Tovala has really kind of 3 groups of buttons. At the top, you have all your buttons for the different cook styles. And then in the middle is the temperature buttons. And then at the bottom are the time buttons. And you do get, they're very good tactile feeling them. You also get a beep when you press it. Now, the buttons themselves don't talk. So, the different cook ones, you're going to just have to memorize kind of the order of it. But once you've got those down, then, totally accessible. And then, as you mentioned, that scan feature is really cool too. And I know that button is super easy to find at the top center.
I wanted to jump in on that scan button a little bit, David. So let's say that I am a blind user who is going to be doing this for the first time. Now, the oven's all ready to go. Okay, I've received my meal. I got my meal, and I'm ready to cook it. Okay, so I need to scan the QR code, and then the oven is going to put all the correct settings in for that particular meal. Okay, so how do I find the scanner? How do I find the QR code? And then how do I know what I need to do with the food once the oven is ready to go?
Yeah, so the scanner, I think you'll have to memorize where the buttons are on the device itself. There's not that many buttons. And then every meal comes with an insert in it, and the QR code is most frequently in the corner of that insert. So you take the insert out, hold it against the scanner. The scanner has a really wide berth of scanning, I would say, so you don't have to put it in the precise spot. Often I see people scan it accidentally because it's got such a wide range. And then in terms of the instructions for the meals, there's this nice screen reader integration, whether you've got iPhone or Android. So within the Tovala app, you can pull up the meal and it will guide you through the instructions to prepare and cook the meal. And as I said, it's quite simple in terms of the prep. Usually it's like add a spice mix or something like that.
The smartphone app, I think, is really where the device also kind of, the accessibility really shines. So the app is totally, all of your main features are totally accessible, including ordering meals each week, but then the actual prep time, or the prep, I think, and you can scan the barcode or the QR code from the oven itself, or you can use your phone and scan it as well. And when you use your phone, then you have access right away to the cooking instructions, and you have access to what's in the package, so you can kind of go through and make sure you've got all your stuff. And then you've got, you can just swipe through and go step by step for all your instructions, and then there's a button then to send that to the smart oven. So you don't even actually have to use the scanner on the smart oven if you don't want to, if it's a little harder for you to find. And I think most of the time, if you want those cooking instructions, you're probably going to use your smartphone. So then you're able to send it over to the oven and then just hit this physical start button.
I guess the only way that you wouldn't necessarily need the smartphone is if you always ordered the same
meal all the time?
Yeah.
And you knew exactly how to...
Exactly, yeah. Because I'm just thinking, if somebody doesn't have a smartphone, although most people would, but maybe they don't feel comfortable using a screen reader,
Yeah, otherwise, depending on your comfort level, you would maybe need to use your smartphone or Meta glasses to read the insert and get the instructions from that, and so you wouldn't have to use your phone.
So the cooking instructions are also on the insert with the QR code, are they?
Yes. Okay. You will need a smartphone to get the oven online, though.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
But once it's set up, then
it's set up, So I could definitely see somebody using an OCR device.
Once it's set up, you don't need to use your phone ever again if you don't want to.
So I could see somebody using a clear reader or something to read the insert, or using Meta glasses, to your point, if they're not comfortable with using the screen reader and the Tovala app. Okay, I like it. So you put your meal in. And what's your average cook time? Are we talking 5 minutes, or what are we talking here?
It's not a miracle oven.
we are cooking, full thick chicken breasts from scratch.
It's done before you even put it in. It's a miracle.
This shows how often I cook.
The fastest meals are 11 minutes.
Okay, that's pretty fast.
And then if you're ordering a family style meal, we'll get up to 25. I'd say the average is 15 to 20.
15. Okay, so then 15 to 20 minutes later, open up the oven and feast away.
Yeah, so eat it right out of the container.
Yeah, why not? That's the pro move.
The oven plays a nice little jingle when it's done cooking, so and you get a push notification on your phone as well.
Okay. I'm curious, David, how did how did this kind of accessibility come to be? Was it just a happy accident, or was there any planning behind it, or what happened there?
Yeah, the scanner was put in when we just thought about the customer experience and how we wanted this to be as frictionless and easy as possible, as opposed to relying on something through your phone. And so a lot of people never take their phone out when they're cooking the meals, and I think people like that. So that's why the scanner was put in. I will say a lot of the features in the app, those were kind of the brainchild of one of our earliest employees. So Josh joined us in mid 2016. I think he was the 5th or 6th employee at Tovala as our mobile engineer. And Josh's sister has cerebral palsy. And so this was, really personal for him. He, for them, they got a Mac in the 90s, and that really opened his eyes up to the power of accessibility features because of how that kind of opened a whole new world for his sister. And so, I'd say early Tovala and still, we really gave our team members a lot of autonomy to craft their own roadmaps and build with the customer experience in mind. And Josh wanted to put in a lot of accessibility features into the app experience. And so he did that, and we were supportive of that, without any, hey, we're going to put marketing behind this, or we're purposely going after an audience that is accessibility oriented. So that's where it started. And then we hired Sean as our second mobile engineer, maybe a year and a half later, 2 years later. And he had worked on the Easy Pay Touch program at Apple before. And so he also had experience with a lot of users who had accessibility needs. So it's super natural, I'd say, for the first 2 mobile engineers, that were the only mobile engineers we had on iOS, honestly, ever. We hired a couple other folks on Android. And then we got kind of lucky in that there was a Apple team member, someone that worked at Apple, who was focused on accessibility and I believe is a person with low vision, and was a Tovala customer. And so they have worked really closely with her for probably 7-8 years now to get feedback on what's working and not working, and what are the kind of innate features within the iOS ecosystem that we can capitalize on. So in that sense, it was not organic, and we have actually spent a lot of time investing in it, but it's not something we've ever kind of marketed out there. It's happened on its own that folks in this community have realized Tovala is a great solution.
And it's really nice. We hear these personal stories oftentimes of where, somebody has developed something to be accessible because they do know somebody with, with some kind of, vision impairment or whatever it might be. So always nice to hear those stories for sure. Now, we do have a good question in the chat here. From Alicia. Do you have special meal plans for people who are, for example, vegetarian, diabetic, etc.?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Great question. We serve a lot of different diets. So if you go to our menu, there's a filter on there, and you can see what diets we serve today. We've got, I'd say, like 2 to 4 vegetarian meals per week. It's not, a huge part of the menu, but it does exist. There's low carb meals. There are some low sodium meals. We are working on a larger, broader low sodium offering as well. There's meals for people on GLP-1s. There's a lot of high protein options. There's Mediterranean style diet meals. So there's a pretty broad selection of meals for sure. And I'd have people go check the website to see if it worked for them.
And I think one other thing too that we sort of touched on, but just want to kind of say again, is that the Tovala Smart Oven is great, and the food subscription is great. But as you mentioned, David, that a lot of families and a lot of individuals aren't buying Tovala meals for every single meal, and so the ability to cook other meals in the oven, if it's if you kind of creating your own and just be using a convenient smart oven, or using some of the pre-bought items or pre-made items like Stouffer's, Trader Joe's stuff. I think that's another thing to really highlight too, is that the oven can be used for more than just the meals that Tovala provides.
Right, so from what I understand, David, you are able to scan the barcode on other products such as Stouffer's, and the oven will actually, again, set itself up for the correct settings to cook that food. Is that how that works?
Yeah. The oven can cook a whole bunch of different things. There's about 1,000 grocery products that you can find online on our website that work just by scanning the UPC code. And then there's an app with a lot of recipes on there. that also are guided. So there's a lot you can do with it. And people do. People use the oven almost 30 times a month on average. So people are using it for their own food, for our food, through the app, for toasting bread, whole bunch of different features.
Very nice indeed. So it's very flexible in terms of the usage. Now, I do have to ask you the most important question. What is the most popular meal that you guys make? Now, this is basically we are finding out the taste buds of the nation with this question. So, most popular meal is
chicken parm and stuffed shells.
Interesting.
That tracks.
Actually sounds good.
Tracks.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's a classic. You can't go wrong.
That sounds really good.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
Well, I was also going to ask you, David, what is your favorite meal?
That's like choosing your favorite child. I can't.
That's a very good CEO answer. I like that one. Yeah. So people, if they want to go to the website and check out the meal list, what is the web address that they should be going to?
Just Tovala.com. Tovala.
All right, I'm putting that into the chat as well.
So I'm super excited. We do have a Tovala oven here. We will be having a second round of meals sent. They should be here any moment. Totally my bad. But we'll be doing a produced video on the smart oven and actually making one of the meals in there, at least one of the meals in there. I'm super excited. This, like I said, this is something that my family could definitely benefit from. We have a similar item now that we use that is its own standalone oven and meal service, but what I'm not super happy with is that there's no accessibility on the device itself, which is a real bummer. I can't stop it doesn't automatically stop, and I can't stop the meal, so I got to have someone come over and turn the oven off, which is annoying. The app is somewhat accessible, but there's some weird little glitches here and there too. So I'm super excited for us to create our produced video and use the oven because I have a feeling we're gonna get one to replace what's on our counter now. It's a very good chance that's going to happen.
And you've already downloaded the app and played about with the app, Corey?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've already got some experience with using VoiceOver with the app. And you did say that the app is on Android and on iPhone, so whether you're an Android user or an iPhone user, you can go ahead and, if you get the oven, you'll be able to get it set up. Is the oven, does it need to be connected to Wi-Fi? I know a lot of appliances these days are connected to your internet. Is that the case with the Tovala?
It is, yeah, because the menu changes every week and every meal has its own custom cooking instructions. Connected Wi-Fi. So when you scan the QR code of, I just saw my wife is making miso chicken for lunch.
Nice.
It's got its own cooking instructions. So it's going to use some steam, and then it might use dry heat, then it might broil, it might change temperatures. So that's our way of constantly updating based on what's on the menu.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Is there any plans for, I don't know, maybe like a voice activation? You can say, "Hey, Tovala, I'm making chicken miso soup," and it's like, okay, and then it sets it up for you.
I'll be done in 1 minute.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about voice activation. I do. There are certain things that I think we are working on improving, specifically for accessibility, but voice activation is not one of them.
Okay, that's fair. And of course, it's 2026, so we also have to ask the question, are you going to be integrating AI into the oven to make it autonomous?
I don't think so.
No.
We're not. We're playing that game with the oven. The menu and will get a little more personalized using AI, so learn your tastes and surface the meals over time. But I don't think the oven is going to change.
David, just I know you want to talk, Corey,
no,
but just real quick, I see the future for Tovala. It's a robot with a Tovala oven as a head.
Oh, his head is the oven?
And it walks over to it gets the package from the front door of the food, and it opens it up.
Yeah, I like it.
It puts it into the freezer for you.
And then cooks it, and then bring breakfast in bed. It brings you bacon.
It brings the meal to you, and it knows exactly what you want at all times, and it always brings you what you want. Perfect.
I like it.
What do you think, Corey?
I'm on board. Sign me up for the future Tovala robot. No, I think it's interesting, David. I think Tovala is an interesting company in the fact that you've got tech with the smart oven itself and focusing on how to make that more accessible and make that a hardware device. But then you've got the food piece of it too. So having curated chefs and things, it is almost, I don't want to say it's two different businesses, but it really is kind of a split of talent and stuff. So I have to assume you invest a lot of R&D and a lot of time into developing those meals, because that's really probably a kind of a big backbone of what the oven is.
Huge part of our business, for sure. There's a lot of time and people that go into developing the meals. We've got hundreds of employees in our facilities that are prepping meals and packing boxes, and big team of chefs. So yeah, that's the heart of the business.
Gotcha.
Are you one of the taste testers for the new meals, David?
When I have the time, it's one of my favorite things to do. I can't do it every few weeks, but every once in a while, I got to do it yesterday. It was great.
I think that was the real motivation behind the business. You were just like, I want to try lots of new food. How can I do this?
I like it.
All right, well, I think we've probably covered everything that we need to with regards to Tovala. So again, let's just make sure people know the way to get the big discount. So again, there is a discount for our viewers. David, is there a timescale on this discount? Because this video will be recorded and accessible on YouTube into the foreseeable future. So do we know if there is a timescale on this? How is this discount going to work?
I think we can say for the foreseeable future it'll be available. But,
okay.
Sure.
A month or two, it won't be.
Okay, so
good.
For the moment, if you are watching this video, at least relatively close to release, then you can go to the Tovala website, tovala.com, Tovala, and you want to go ahead and use the promotional code VISIONTECH. It's all one word, uppercase, VISIONTECH, VISIONTECH, and that is going to give you the Tovala oven for only $99 as opposed to $349, and you will get 50% off of your first week of meals. So you really have nothing to lose in terms of giving this a try if it sounds interesting to you. I think, David, you said that if with the meal subscription, it can be kind of paused or cancelled at any time, right?
Yes, with that much lower price on the oven, you have to order 6 times from us.
Okay.
But you've got 6 months to do that.
Okay.
And
6 months for 6 orders.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's pretty respectable. So
Wonderful.
yeah, I mean, if this sounds appealing, then you should definitely give it a shot, because why not? And again, Corey said we'll be releasing a produced video that will go through some of the finer features. So if you want to kind of see it in action and get an idea of how Corey gets on with using it, then you can tune into that video when it releases.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited. That should come out in maybe 3-ish weeks, probably.
Okay.
I think we gotta shoot.
We'll be recording it next week.
Yeah, we will be recording it next Friday, and then we'll get it out. And maybe, depending on editing time, maybe we'll break our schedule just so that we can take advantage of that promo code. Anyways,
we'll get it out ASAP. So yeah, make sure to check it out. David, do you have any final words for our audience today?
I just think you got to come back and let us know who wins the battle of the ovens on your countertop.
Oh,
I will absolutely update everybody and let everyone know who wins that battle. I don't think we don't have enough counter space for both of them, so one will have to be king.
You can put one on top of the other, no?
As it won't fit under the counter.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
all right, well, there can only be one winner, and we'll find out who it is once Corey has had a chance to test out Tovala fully. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Next week, we will have a video on
LumaVision, brand new product.
Yeah, so this is another wearable electronic magnification device utilizing your own smartphone.
Significantly less expensive. And actually a really cool mini version. So yeah, make sure you check out our video next week, Thursday. It's actually quite cool.
Yeah, so that should be a good one. And we will be back with the live show again in 2 weeks' time, and I think we have another guest, but I can't remember who it is off the top of my head.
It will be wonderful, and that is all we can say for now.
Yeah, so join us in 2 weeks for another excellent episode. David, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to trying out our Tovala. And with that being said, goodbye.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
That's a wrap for Tech Connect Live. We made it through the whole show and we're still streaming. For more awesome tech content, head over to techconnect.vision-forward.org. See you next time.